Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Can't believe we made it to March already. College basketball, NBA, NHL, soccer, golf, NASCAR. On this day, news and notes, and best bet. We'll be giving college basketball. We'll go over the weekend's results. And we'll go ahead to tonight's slate, which is only, looks like 18 games. Yes, that's not a lot. And then the conference tournaments obviously start tonight as I have the Horizon League preview podcast posted. The other ones are coming. Don't worry. Friday, number 21, Miami of Ohio over Western Michigan, 69-67. Cornell over Yale, 72-69. Niagara over Quinnipiac, 78-76 in OT. Dayton over George Washington, 68-66. Iona over Rider, 80-58. Columbia over Brown, 80-62. Fairfield over Siena, 72-58. Sacred Heart over Mount St. Mary, 77-69. Canisius over Merrimack, 67-62. St. Peter's over Manhattan, 75-65. Harvard over Princeton, 58-56. Penn over Dartmouth, 80-71. Troy over Yale Monroe, 80-65. Old Dominion over Georgia State, 81-73. Number 3 Michigan over number 10 Illinois, 84-70. Akron over Kent State, 92-70. Texas State over App State, 60-57. Coastal over James Madison, 69-68. Southern Miss over South Alabama, 68-55. Georgia Southern over Marshall, 99-82. Arkansas State over Louisiana, 81-58. Saturday. Number 1 Duke over number 11 Virginia, 77-51. Number 5 Houston over Colorado, 102-62. Number 6 UConn over Seton Hall, 71-67. St. Joe's over Rhode Island, 61-55. Penn State over Iowa, 71-69. BU over American, 68-65. Notre Dame over NC State, 96-90 in OT. Florida State over Georgia Tech, 80-71. Loyola Maryland over Holy Cross, 76-62. VCU over Fordham, 82-63. Lafayette over Army, 83-77. Robert Morris over Cleveland State, 83-64. Wagner over Chicago State, 80-61. Central Con over St. Francis, 69-64. New Haven over Lemoyne, 66-59. LA over Fairleigh Dickinson, 74-60. UMBC over UMass Lowell, 84-60. Missouri over Mississippi State, 88-64. MTSU over New Mexico State, 86-85 in OT. Xavier over Georgia, 91-84. Clemson over number 24 Louisville, 80-75. Purdue Fort Wayne over Iowa-Indy, 87-81. Lehigh over Bucknell, 89-79. George Mason over St. Bonaventure, 71-58. Cincy over Oklahoma State, 91-68. Northwestern over Oregon, 63-62. Minnesota over UCLA, 78-73. SC Upstate over Gardner-Webb, 71-61. Charleston Southern over UNC Asheville, 92-75. New Mexico over San Diego State, 81-76. South Dakota over South Dakota State, 75-70. Green Bay over Youngstown State, 85-63. Bowling Green over UMass, 81-62. Central Michigan over Buffalo, 75-70. Mercyhurst over Stonehill, 75-72 in OT. Albany over New Hampshire, 84-61. Binghamton over Maine, 74-67. William and Mary over NCAT, 91-88. Towson over Campbell, 71-67. The Citadel over Wofford, 93-90 in OT. Chattanooga over VMI, 86-79. Central Arkansas over Queens, 84-79. West Georgia over North Alabama, 75-63. Stetson over FGCU, 78-63. Bellarmine over Austin P, 111-97. Tennessee State over Tennessee Martin, 67-42. Kentucky over number 25 Vandy, 91-77. Miami over BC, 76-54. Longwood over Radford, 90-74. Detroit Mercy over Oakland, 95-89. Monmouth over Alon, 73-57. Montana State over Sac State, 82-61. FIU over La Tech, 84-76. WK over UTEP, 97-65. Arizona State over Utah, 73-60. Bethune over Southern, 82-79. Georgia over South Carolina, 87-68. Number 16 Texas Tech over number 4 Iowa State, 82-73. Number 12 Nebraska over USC, 82-67. Wyoming over Air Force, 66-62. Evansville over Valpo, 80-79. Portland over San Diego, 87-74. Howard over Morgan State, 84-59. Loyola Chicago over Richmond, 69-66. Wisconsin over Washington, 90-73. Winthrop over Presbyterian, 74-70. Pitt over Cal, 72-56. The Navy over Colgate, 85-69. Toledo over Ohio, 79-67. Bryan over NJIT, 69-52. Hampton over Northeastern, 76-65. Montana over Portland State, 74-68. Northern Colorado over Idaho, 76-67. Eastern Washington over Northern Arizona, 88-57. Lipscomb over Eastern Kentucky, 80-77. Little Rock over Southern Indiana, 89-70. Utah Valley over Abilene Christian, 74-67. Number 2, Arizona over number 14, Kansas, 84-61. Texas over Texas A&M, 76-70. NC Central over Delaware State, 74-60. Maryland Eastern over SC State, 69-57. Mercer over ETSU, 82-76. Stephen F. Austin over Houston Christian, 77-56. Lindenwood over Western Illinois, 91-69. SIU Edwardsville over Eastern Illinois, 77-50. Ball State over Northern Illinois, 79-43. Nichols over Southeast Louisiana, 68-60. Norfolk State over Coppin State, 75-69. Colorado State over San Jose State, 85-73. Incarnate Word over Lamar, 72-60. North Dakota State over North Dakota, 96-63. Southeast Missouri over Tennessee Tech, 89-73. Kennesaw State over Delaware, 90-82. West Virginia over number 19, BYU, 79-71. Prairie View over Alcorn State, 72-51. Providence over Creighton, 79-76. Western Carolina over Furman, 86-67. Texas over Grand Race, Texas A&M, 63-55. Sam Houston over Missouri State, 86-81. Texas Southern over Jackson State, 82-57. Alabama State over Alabama A&M, 89-88. Wake over Syracuse, 88-83. Florida A&M over Grambling, 66-59. San Fran over Pacific, 72-61. Princeton over Dartmouth, 82-61. Stanford over SMU, 95-75. Cornell over Brown, 86-80. Yale over Columbia, 60-54. Penn over Harvard, 64-61. Samford over UNC Greensboro, 87-78. McNeese over New Orleans, 66-63. Weber State over Idaho State, 83-73. Oklahoma over LSU, 83-67. Jacksonville over North Florida, 85-61. Liberty over Jackson State, 81-78. Number 17, Alabama over number 22, Tennessee, 71-69. TC over Kansas State, 77-68. Miss Valley State over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 70-69. A&M Corpus Christi over Northwestern State, 71-59. Rice State over Northern Kentucky, 92-91. Hofstra over Stony Brook, 67-58. Hawaii over Fullerton, 87-85. Number 15, St. John's over Villanova, 89-57. Number 23, St. Louis over Duquesne, 91-76. Pepperdine over Wazoo, 88-79. Santa Clara over Oregon State, 93-72. Baylor over UCF, 87-86. Boise State over Fresno State, 69-53. UC Riverside over Cal State Northridge, 95-84. Oral Roberts over KC, 94-70. St. Thomas over Omaha, 68-53. Number 7, Florida over number 20, Arkansas, 111-77. Number 18, North Carolina over Virginia Tech, 89-82. Ole Miss over Auburn, 85-79. Southern Utah over Utah Tech, 81-67. Seattle over Loyola Marymount, 71-66. Cal Baptist over Tarleton State, 82-67. Long Beach State over Bakersfield, 88-87. UNLV over Nevada, 85-83 in OT. Utah State over Grand Canyon, 74-69. UC San Diego over Cal Poly, 80-64. St. Mary's over number 9 Gonzaga, 70-59. And UC Irvine over Santa Barbara, 64-60. All right, Sunday. Davidson over LaSalle, 74-64. Or 71-64. South Florida over Tulane, 90-62. North Texas over UAB, 92-58. Rutgers over Maryland, 69-65. Indiana State over UIC, 79-63. Quinnipiac over Canisius, 67-63. Ohio State upsets number 8 Purdue, 82-74. Bradley over Murray State, 87-78. Rice over Temple, 80-74. East Carolina over Memphis, 84-68. FE over Charlotte, 77-76 in OT. Siena over Rider, 76-61. Mount St. Mary's over Fairfield, 69-47. Merrimack over Niagara, 73-66. St. Peter's over Marist, 63-56. Iona over Manhattan, 69-65. Northern Iowa over Drake, 75-53. Number 13, Michigan State over Indiana, 77-64. Southern Illinois over Evansville, 81-67. DePaul over Marquette, 62-51. Illinois State over Belmont, 81-74. Charleston over UNC Wilmington, 79-76. And Wichita State over UTSA, 84-67. All right, tonight, 6 o'clock. Norfolk State, Morgan State. I have Morgan State by a half. The only line I have a total, the only game I have a total for is the Horizon League game. Norfolk 3.5 total 156.5. I'll take Morgan State plus the 3.5 and plus 138 outright. 7 o'clock ESPN number 1 Duke NC State. I have Duke 4.8, and it is 9.5 147.5. I'll take NC State plus 9.5. That's a lot of points. The Horizon League play-in IU Cleveland State. I have Cleveland State by 7 total 168. And it's 1.5 107.5. I'm laying the 1.5 of Cleveland State. I'm surprised they're that low of a favorite. SC State, Delaware State. I have Delaware State 1.3. It's 1.5 136.5. I'll take the over. NC Central, Maryland Eastern. I have Maryland Eastern 1.1. And it is 1.5 133.5. I'll also take the over. Next up, Coppin State Howard. I have Howard 13 3/4, and it's 19.5, 138.5. I'll take Coppin State in the points. 7:30, Stephen F. Austin Incarnate Word. I have Stephen F. Austin 12.3, and it is 8.5, 144.5 LA with Stephen F. Austin. Northwestern State, Texas, Rio Grande Valley. I have UTRG 11.2, and it's 9.5, and 138.5. I'll take the over. CBS Sports Network, McNeese Nichols. Remember Nichols was off to a good start in conference play? They kind of fell apart. I have McNeese by 10, and it is 10.5, 144.5. I'll take the over. 8 o'clock, Southeast Louisiana and New Orleans. I have New Orleans by 9, and that is 8.5, 143.5. I'll also go over. East Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I have Corpus Christi 10 3/4 at 7.5, 136.5 LA with Corpus Christi. Montana State, Northern Arizona. I have Montana State 6.8. And it is 6.5, 143.5. I'll take the over. Montana, Northern Colorado. I have Northern 2.6. And it's 6.5, 153.5. I'll take Montana getting 6.5. That's too high. 8:30, Lamar, Houston Christian. I have Houston Christian 3.2. It's Lamar 1.5 total 132.5. I'll take Houston Christian plus 1.5 and minus 105 outright. All right, game of the night. 9 o'clock. ESPN. Number 6, Iowa State. Number 2, Arizona. This was a top 5 matchup. Now it's not anymore because Iowa State dropped from 4 to 6 in the poll. My line's Arizona 6.2. Hopefully Cole Pete plays. And it's 7.5 and 149.5. I'll take the over. Idaho, Eastern Washington. I have Eastern 3.1. And it's 3.5, 150.5. I'll go over. Weber State, Portland State. At 10, I have Portland State 9.5. It's 4.5, 143.5. I'll lay the points of Portland State. I think that is low. And then Idaho State, Sac State. I have Sac State 3.2, and it is 1.5, 160.5. I'll take the under, but I don't feel good about that one. Okay, now move on to the NBA. We'll go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to tonight. And tonight we only have 4 games. Like I said, like Monday's now like a slower day and Tuesday's a busy day. And then it's like sports is loaded on Tuesdays and Thursdays because the NBA and the NHL both have a lot of games on both those days, which is weird. All right, Friday, Pistons over the Cavs 122, 119 in OT. I lost best bet because Cade Cunningham did not play down the stretch. But the Cavs probably should have won the game, even though they had a lot of injuries. But yeah, I should have won that bet. I meant to say the Pistons should have won the game, not the Cavs. But that game should not have gone to overtime. But then again, Cleveland was missing a lot of guys, and it just shows how important Cunningham is. Celtics over the Nets 148-111. Knicks over the Bucks 127-98. Grizzlies over the Mavs 124-105. Thunder over the Nuggets 127-121 in overtime. Saturday, Hornets over the Blazers 109-93. Heat over the Rockets 115-105. Raptors over the Wiz 134-125. Lakers over the Warriors 129-101. Pelicans over the Jazz 115-105. Sunday, Knicks over the Spurs 114-89. Cavs over the Nets 106-102. Bulls over the Bucks 120-97. T-Wolves over the Nuggets 117-108. Grizzlies over the Pacers 125-106. Hawks over the Blazers 135-101. Pistons over the Magic 106-92. Celtics over the Sixers 114-98. Thunder over the Mavs 187. Clips over the Pelicans 137-117. And the Lakers over the Clippers 128-104. Okay, now we look ahead to tonight. First up, Rockets Wizards at 7 o'clock. My line is the Rockets by 13. And it is 15 and 225.5. I'll take the Wizards in the points. All right. 7:30 NBA TV. Celtics Bucks. The return of Giannis Antetokounmpo. No Jaylen Brown and no Kata for Boston. That just came down right now. And obviously no Tatum yet. Mine's Bucks 2.25, and it's Celtics by 1, total 216.5. I'll take the Bucks getting the 1 and plus 108 outright. Giannis back, and a lot of dudes on the Celtics aren't playing. 9 o'clock, Nuggets Jazz. I have the Nuggets 7.75. It's 12 and 242.5. I'll take the Jazz getting the 12. And then 10 o'clock on NBC, SN and Peacock, Clippers Warriors. I have the Clippers 1.75. And it's 1.5, 215.5. I'll take the over. Okay, now move on to hockey. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and we'll look ahead to tonight's games. I think tonight's at least like 5 or 6 games in hockey, if I had to guess. Yeah, 6. I was right. All right, Friday. Sabres over the Panthers 3-2. Caps over the Golden Knights 3-2. Mammoth over the Wild 5-2. Ducks over the Jets 5-4 OT. Saturday. Rangers over the Pens 3-2 shootout. I guess Vegas knew. But then again, no Crosby, so I forgot all about that. Flyers over the Bruins 3-1. Sharks over the Oilers 5-4. Devils over the Blues 3-1. Isles over the Blue Jackets 4-3 OT. Abs over the Blackhawks 3-1. Sens over the Leafs 5-2. Habs over the Capitals 6-2. Sabres over the Lightning 6-2. Canes over the Red Wings 5-2. Kings over the Flames 2-0. Stars over the Preds 3-2 OT. Kraken over the Canucks 5-1. And then last night, Pens over the Golden Knights 5-0. Blackhawks over the Mammoth 4-0. Sharks over the Jets 2-1 OT. Blues over the Wild 3-1. Isles over the Panthers 5-4. Ducks over the Flames 3-2 shootout. All right, 2 o'clock this afternoon, just coming up right now, Red Wings Predators. I don't know why that's a matinee game today. That is weird. It is at Bridgestone, so that's very odd that is a matinee game today. The Red Wings are minus 118 favorite, but the Nationals minus 102 over under 6.5. Overs plus 104, unders minus 128. Wings minus 1.5 plus 205. Preds plus 1.5 minus 260. I'm taking Detroit on the road minus 118. The disrespect of the the disrespect of the Red Wings continues. 7 o'clock NHL Network, Blue Jackets Rangers from MSG. Columbus is minus 122. The Rangers are plus 102 over under 6.5. Overs plus 112, unders minus 138. Jackets minus 1.5 plus 190. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 245. Igor Shesterkin's back for the Rangers. That was a big reason why they won that game against the Pens without Crosby. But I'm still not convinced that the games are still going to be low scoring because their defense is atrocious. I have to go over 6.5 at plus 112. 7:30 Flyers Maple Leafs. Leafs minus 132. Flyers plus 110 over under 6.5. Overs plus 112. Unders minus 138. Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 225. Leafs minus 1.5 plus 180. I'm gonna go with the over at plus money. 10 o'clock Stars Canucks. Stars minus 188. Canucks plus 155. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 106. Stars minus 1.5 plus 136. Canucks plus 1.5 minus 168. I like the under at plus money. Hurricanes Kraken. Canes minus 188. Kraken plus 155. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 132. Unders plus 108. Canes minus 1.5 plus 132. Kraken plus 1.5 minus 162. For this one, I'm going to go Hurricanes in regulation minus 115. Last but not least, 10:30 Avs Kings. Avs minus 172. Kings plus 142. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 138. Unders plus 112. Avs minus 1.5 plus 146. Kings plus 1.5 minus 180. For this one, I'm going to go with the Avs in regulation and even money. I just don't like how the Kings have looked out of the All-Star or after the Olympic break so far. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and then we will look ahead a little bit to tomorrow. Actually, no, maybe tonight, and then tomorrow soccer we'll do on tomorrow. So, actually, we could conceivably pick a couple games that are starting after 2:30 today. All right. Friday. EPL, Wolverhampton over Aston Villa 2-0. La Liga, Levante over Alaves 2-0. German Bundesliga, Augsburg over FC Cologne 2-0. Liga MX, Mazatlan FC over Pachuca 2-1. Carretera Santos 2-2 draw. FC Juarez over Atlas 3-1. Tijuana, Yunnan 1-1 draw. Serie A, Parma Cagliari 1-1 draw. French League 1, Strasbourg Lens 1-1 draw. ELC, Watford over Bristol City 2-1. Dutch Eredivisie, Telstar over NAC Breda 3-0. Pro League, Al Hussein over Al Ittifaq 3-1. Al Ittihad over Al Khalij 1-0. Al Hilal over Al Shabab 5-3. Women's Friendly, Brazil over Costa Rica 5-2. Saturday, EPL, AFC Bournemouth Sunderland 1-1 draw. Brentford over Burnley 4-3. Liverpool over West Ham 5-2. Everton over Newcastle 3-2. Man City over Leeds United 1-0. La Liga, Real Valenciano Athletic Club 1-1 draw. Barcelona Villarreal 4-1. Barcelona. Real Sociedad over Mallorca 1-0. Atletico Madrid over Real Oviedo 1-0. Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen Mainz 1-1 draw. Magna Block over FC Union 1-0. St. Pauli over TSG Hoffenheim 1-0. Bremen over FC Heidenheim 2-0. Bayern Munich Borussia. Bayern wins 3-2. MLS, Chicago over Montreal 3-0. Red Bulls over New England 1-0. Colorado over Portland 2-0. Minnesota over FC Cincinnati 1-0. Salt Lake over Seattle 2-1. San Jose over Atlanta 2-0. Dallas Nashville 0-0 draw. LAFC over Houston 2-0. Sporting KC Columbus 2-2 draw. Vancouver for Toronto 3-0. Galaxy over Charlotte 3-0. Liga MX, Puebla over Atletico de los San Luis 1-0. Toluca over Guadalajara 2-0. Cruz Azul over Monterrey 2-0. Leon over Necaxa 2-1. Tigres over America 4-1. Serie A, Como over Lecce 3-1. Napoli over Verona 2-1. Inter over Genoa 2-0. French League 1, Rennes over Toulouse 1-0. AS Monaco over Angers 2-0. PSG over Havre C 1-0. ELC, Derby County for Blackburn 3-1. Norwich City over Leicester City 2-0. Hull City over Portsmouth 1-0. Wrexham over Charlton Athletic 1-0. Coventry City over Stoke City 2-1. Ipswich Town over Swansea City 3-0. Oxford United over West Brom 2-1. Millwall over Preston North End 2-0. Sheffield United over Queen's Park 2-0. Southampton over Sheffield Wednesday 3-1. Dutch Eredivisie, Heerenveen over Sparta 2-1. PSV over Heracles 3-1. Fortuna over NEC Nijmegen 3-2. Pro League, Al Nassr over Al Faya 3-1. Al Akhdud over Al Najma 3-1. Al Qadiash Al Twoon 1-1 draw. Al Khalod over Niam SC 2-1. Premiership, Dundee Hibernian 3-3 draw. Falkirk over Kilmarnock 5-1. Hearts over Aberdeen 1-0. Livingston St. Mirren 1-1 draw. Motherwell over Dundee United 2-0. And then yesterday, EPL, Brighton and Hove for Nottingham 2-1. Fulham over Tottenham 2-1. Man United over Crystal Palace 2-1. Arsenal over Chelsea 2-1. They were all 2-1s. Imagine betting that for like parlay on those scores. That's crazy. And the road team won all of them. La Liga, LK Espanyol 2-2 draw. Valencia over Osasuna 1-0. Real Betis Sevilla 2-2 draw. Celta Vigo over Girona 2-1. Bundesliga, VfB Stuttgart over VfL Wolfsburg 4-0. Frankfurt over SC Freiburg 2-0. RP Leipzig over Hamburg 2-1. MLS, Austin FC over DC 1-0. NYCFC over the Union 2-1. Miami over Orlando 4-2. San Diego over St. Louis 2-0. The Shiva Leaves Cup, Canada over Colombia 4-1 and US over Argentina 2-0. Serie A, AC Milan over Cremonese 2-0. Sassuolo over Atalanta 2-1. Torino over Lazio 2-0. AS Roma Juventus 3-3 draw. French League 1, Paris FC over Nice 1-0. Lille over Nantes 1-0. Lorient AJXR 2-2 draw. Brest over Metz 1-0. Marseille over Lyon 3-2. Dutch Eredivisie, PC Zwolle Ajax 0-0 draw. FC 20 over Feyenoord 2-0. FC Volendam over FC Groningen 3-2. FC Utrecht over AC Alkmaar 2-0. Go Ahead Eagles over Excelsior 1-0. Premiership, Rangers Celtic 2-2 draw. And then today, going on now is Pisa, Bologna, and Serie A. Asian Cup Women, South Korea over Iran 3-0. And then coming up at 2:45 in Serie A is Udinese and Fiorentina. No night games tonight, which is odd. So Fiorentina plus 135, Udinese plus 230, draw even money, going Fiorentina plus 135. All right, 3 o'clock. Real Madrid, Getafe. Real Madrid minus 280, Getafe plus 750, draw plus 380. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with both teams to score, yes, plus 142. I just think there's some value with that. And then ELC is Birmingham, Middlesbrough. Borough plus 150, Birmingham plus 165, draw plus 240. I'm going with the draw plus 240. That is a very valuable pick. And in women's UEFA, we have a lot of morning stuff. I'm not going to pick them because the lines aren't up, but I'm going to just do the morning slate. 5 a.m. Bulgaria, Croatia. 6 o'clock Azerbaijan, North Macedonia. 7 o'clock Bosnia and Herzegovina. 8 o'clock Montenegro, Albania. 9 o'clock Turkey, Malta. 10 o'clock Kazakhstan, Armenia. Slovakia, Latvia. 11 o'clock Kosovo, Gibraltar. Romania, Moldova. 11:30 Greece, Georgia. And 11:45 Germany, Slovenia. So that's Women's World Cup qualifying for UEFA tomorrow morning. And we'll do the afternoon on tomorrow's show. So there you have it for soccer. Now move on to golf. We will go over the final leaderboard, or I should say the results from the Cognizant Classic in Palm Beaches. Your winner with the score of 17 under, earning $1.7 million in change, Nico Echevarria. Tied for second, 15 under, Taylor Moore, Shane Lowry, Austin Svardlin. Fifth, 13 under, Ricky Castillo. Tied for sixth, 11 under, Nikolai Hojar, William Mao, Keith Mitchell. Tied for ninth, 10 under, Brooks Koepka, Rasmus Højgaard, Matthias Schmid, Joel Dahman. Tied for 13th, 9 under, Potnus Nyholm, Max Homa, Patton Kazir, AJ Ewart. Tied for 17th, 8 under, Matthew Pavon, Sudarshan Yelmerjo, Chad Ramey, Zuchang Du, Takami Kanaya, Christopher Rattain. Tied for 23rd, 7 under, Jordan Smith, Ryan Gerard, Mackenzie Hughes, Zach Woodshow, Kevin Roy, Adrian DeMont DeChazert, Mark Hubbard, Aaron Ray, Bayo Hostler. Tied 32nd, 6 under, Hatong Lee, David Ford, Daniel Berger, Kevin Strom, and Jamie Stranger. 37th, 5 under, Christian Ziedenhout, Eric Cole, Stephen Fisk. Tied for 40th, 4 under, Danny Walker, Max McGreevy, Patrick Fishburne, Matt Wallace, Austin Eckler, Dan Brown, Hank Lebioda, Garrett Higo, Ben Silverman, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Lee Hodges, the Allison. Tied 52nd, 3 under, Carson Young, Alex Smalley, Siemens Power, Michael Brennan. Tied 56, 2 under, Emiliano Grillo, Sean Kim, Adrian Sadier. 59th, 1 under, Tom Kim. Tied 60th at even, Adam Shank, Davis Thompson. 62nd, 1 over, Billy Horschel. Notables the rest of the way. 66, 4 under, over Dylan Wu. Cut notables. Sam Ryder, Davis Riley, Luke Clanton, Mac Meisner, Webb Simpson, Doug Gibb, David Lipsky, Eric Van Rooyen, Gary Woodland, Vince Whaley, Bryce Garnett, Danny Willett, Johnny Kiefer, Charlie Hoffman. And that's really it. And withdrawing was Kita Nakajima. All right, coming up, 2 tournaments. The Arnold Palmer Invitational in Orlando and the Puerto Rico Open. So 2 tournaments coming up this weekend. So golf is loaded this week. All right, now move on to NASCAR. We'll go over the results from, it was Texas Road Course for O'Reilly and Cup. And then It was St. Pete for trucks. Your winner for the truck race. Lane Riggs. Second, Ty Majeski. Third, Ben Rhodes. Fourth, Chandler Smith. Fifth, Caden Honeycutt. Sixth, Landon Lewis. Seventh, Andres Perez de Lara. Eighth, Daniel Heinrich. Ninth, Colin Brown. 10th, James Hinchcliffe. The rest, Ben Meyer, Justin Haley, Connor Mozak, Cole Butcher, Christian X, Tyler Reef, Daniel Dye, Jake Garcia, Chris Wright, Tanner Gray, Carter Fartruck, Grant Effinger, Adam Andretti, Brendan Queen, Giovanni Ruggiero, Stuart Friesen, Dario Franchitti, Timothy Tyrell, Jackson Lee, Frankie Muniz, Tyler Ankrum, Timmy Hill, Dawson Sutton, Nathan Nicholson, Derek White, and Wesley Slimp. And then O'Reilly from the Citric of the Americas. Your winner, Shane Van Gisbergen. Second, Austin Hill. Third, Sammy Smith. Fourth, Jesse Love. Fifth, Corey Day. Sixth, Brent Cruz. Seventh, William Salich. Eighth, Justin Algier. Ninth, Ross Chastain. 10th, Brendan Poole. The rest, Sheldon Creed, Taylor Gray, Alex Labb, Sam Meyer, Brendan Jones, Ryan Sieg, Blaine Perkins, Jeb Burton, Carson Cavapo, Patrick Staropoli, Connor Zilch, LeVar Scott, Anthony Alfredo, Kyle Sieg, Nick Sanchez, Dean Thompson, Preston Pardis, J.J. Yaley, Harrison Burton, Parker Retzlaff, Raja Caruth, Jeremy Clements, Austin Green, Ryan Ellis, Sage Karam, Josh Baliki, Ballstar, Ligmazin, and Austin J. Hill. There's 2 Austin Hills, 21 Austin Hill, and then J. Hill, 35. And last but not least, the Cup Series from the Circuit of the Americas. Your winner for the 3rd week in a row, Tyler Riddick. So impressive. Second, Shane Van Gisbergen. Third, Christopher Bell. Fourth, Ty Gibbs. Fifth, Michael McDowell, who crashed at the end. Or maybe he blew a tire or something at the end. He was lost there in the end. Could have finished higher. 6th, Kyle Larson. 7th, Chase Elliott. 8th, Ryan Blaney. 9th, AJ Allmendinger. 10th, Denny Hamlin. That was my pick. The rest, Bubba Wallace, who's off to a good start this year. Kyle Busch, William Byron, Connor Zilch, Joey Logano, Ty Dillon, John Arthur Nemechek, Ryan Preece, Austin Dillon, Brad Keselowski, Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, Riley Herbst, Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, Josh Berry, Jesse Love, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cole Custer, Cody Ware, Carson Oswald, Austin Cindric, Zane Smith, Eric Jones, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe. So, there you have it for NASCAR. Now move on to On This Day. We have to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so we're going to do 4 of them. And, of course, it's brought to you by All Sports News on Instagram. On this day, February 26th, so this was Friday. Or no, that was Thursday, so... Oh, we don't have today's yet. So we're going to do 3. So Friday, February 27th, 2013, the Chiefs acquire Alex Smith from the 49ers. Which was a good bridge quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. He was more than that to them, but, it was a good couple-year run. 2016, long-range Stephen Curry shot beats the Thunder in overtime. That was the debut of Double Bang. Or that was the Double Bang that really got viral. 2017, the Steelers extend Aaron Brown. 2023, LeBron James out for extended period. 2023, Commanders release Carson Wentz. 2020, the Kansas Jayhawks had Baylor first loss. That's right, Baylor was undefeated in the COVID year. 2014, Eagles extend Jason Kelsey. 2015, the Browns signed Josh McCown. 2015, Dolphins released Brian Hartline. 2015, the Cardinals released Darnell Dockett. 2014, the Kings buy out Jimmer Fredette. In 2022, the Ali Marpet retires from the NFL. That was the starting lineman on the Bucs. All right, Saturday the 28th, 2019, the Phillies signed Bryce Harper. 2023, Rangers acquired Patrick Kane. Now he's a bust trade. Now he's on the Red Wings doing really good. And that was the year the Rangers lost to the Devils in the first round. And then they just let him walk. They traded for him and Tarasenko going for it, but they lost in round one. And then the next year they ended up making the Eastern Finals and were the President's Trophy winners that year too. 2017, the Chiefs released Jamal Charles. 2019, Jason Witten comes out of retirement to rejoin Cowboys. I remember that. That was a big deal. 2017, the Jets released Darrelle Revis. 2022, Derek Jeter steps down as CEO of the Marlins. 2017, Vikings decline Adrian Peterson's option. 2014, the Blues acquire Ryan Miller. 2017, the Chiefs re-sign Eric Berry. 2016, the Rangers sign Ian Desmond. 2022, FIFA bans Russia after Ukraine invasion. And 2025, Joel Embiid out for the season. And that was last year. All right, and on this day from yesterday, March 1st, 2022 MLB season will not start on time. That was the lockout year. World Series, was that the Diamondbacks Rangers World Series? Oh, that was 23. Yeah, that was 23. 22 was Phillies Astros, I think. Yes. Because that was the year the Astros swept the Yankees. 2021 Cardinals signed J.J. Watt. 2013 Ravens re-signed Joe Flacco. 2025 Commanders acquired Deebo Samuel. 2024 Giants signed Matt Chapman. 2021 Washington releases Alex Smith. 2016 Aroldis Chapman suspended 30 games. 2014 Jaromir Jagr scores 700th goal. 2014 Wichita State completes undefeated regular season. I remember that. And then maybe Miami of Ohio will do it this year. 2021 Hawks fire Lloyd Pierce. That was a bad coach. Here's another bad coach. The Senators fired Guy Boucher. In 2025, the Panthers acquired Seth Jones. So, there you have it for on this day. Now move on to the news and notes. A lot going on. So the big news of the day. There's two big things. The Houston Texans acquire David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions. This should come to no surprise because of the emergence of Jahmyr Gibbs and the Lions get offensive lineman Drew Scruggs and 2 draft picks for Montgomery. I think this is a good addition for Houston. This is an upgrade over Willie Marks. Joe Mixon obviously didn't play. So, it's a 4th rounder, Drew Scruggs, and a 7th rounder for David Montgomery. Oh, wait, a 5th round pick. It was originally supposed to be a 5th round pick. But I think it's a good addition for Houston. Like I said, upgrade over Woody Marks. And, like I said, Joe Mixon didn't play last year. And who knows where he will end up. It opens things up more for Gibbs, and it clears money for Detroit to invest long-term into their young players. Um, so that's a really good trade. And the other big story is that Giannis is coming back tonight against the Celtics after missing the last month and a half or so. Who else is close to coming back? Cooper Flag of the Mavs. He'll be back soon. I think they need to be careful with him, especially with the injury. It gives them an out to tank. But if Cooper Flag is fully healthy, he should be out there on the court. Jason Tatum drops a rehab episode on YouTube, The Quiet Work. So Zion played in 35 consecutive games, and that streak ended against the Clippers last night. Steph's out the next 5 games, next 10 days to be reevaluated. Marie Hachimura came back last night against the Kings. Zach Edey's done for the year. Surgery on left ankle, that's no surprise. The Wizards are likely extending Trae Young as they'll come to terms on a new 3-year deal. Kevin Willard rips Rick Pitino as he jokes working for Rick was the most miserable experience of his life. I guess he was joking. Chad Baker Mazzara out at USC as they announced that he's no longer on the team. Wonder what happened there. And he's an older player too. The Steelers met with quarterback prospects Ty Simpson, Drew Howard, and Carson Beck. Could be Pittsburgh's contingency plan if Rodgers doesn't come back to Pittsburgh. The Raiders may keep Geno Smith as they're expected to draft Fernando Mendoza with the first pick, but would rather not play a rookie in week 1. So they're doing what the Giants did with Russell Wilson, essentially. This is their version of what the Giants did with Wilson and Jackson Dart and what the Patriots did with Brissett and Drake May. I think they're following that blueprint. I did say on the podcast I thought that was a must-win game for the Knicks on Sunday against the Spurs, and they got it done. As they hand the Spurs their first loss since January 31st. And on the flip side, the Bulls won their first game since January 31st over the weekend. Women's UConn 31-0 on the year. Cardinals extend manager Oliver Marmol 2-year extension, club option in 29. The Maple Leaf expanding trade talks as Bobby McCann among players who could be moved to Toronto doesn't extend contract. Javonte Williams' new deal set the running back market as it will help create the floor for other free agent negotiations. The Commanders to cut Marshawn Lattimore when the new year begins in a couple of weeks. So that's another good free agent. Geno Smith is actually linked to the Vikings as he's won the minor for J.J. McCarthy competition if the Raiders cut him. Browns open the quarterback options. Anthony Richardson and Malik Willis among multiple names Cleveland could target, but a lot of people are saying that they think Malik isn't going to go to Cleveland. Rodgers' decision likely soon as they expect an answer on return in the next few weeks. Tua's name rarely comes up as quarterback needy teams don't seem interested in Tua. That tells you all you need to know. Titus Howard gets wait a minute. Oh, this is a different trade. The Texans traded Titus Howard for a 5th round pick. And they got a pick back from Cleveland after what they did with the Lions, and then Titus Howard gets a $63 million deal as he gets the extension after the trade from the Texans. I think it was a really good trade for Cleveland. The Chiefs are cutting Jawan Taylor. The Jets linked to Minka Fitzpatrick. That's interesting. Maybe they're trying to be good. Willis to the Browns unlikely. That was reported yesterday. Cowboys to check in on Max Crosby. That'd be interesting. The Jets may change their defense, as some believe that the Jets trade for Devondre Sweat signals a switch to a 3-4 defense. That would make sense. The Vikings are linked to Derek Carr. A lot of talk during the combine about the Vikings making a move for Derek Carr. The Ravens want Lamar extension as they would like to finalize the contract amid $74.5 million cap hit for the year. So the Patriots on Crosby and A.J. Brown buzz as they're less inclined to send Micah Parsons type draft pick haul for a veteran star. Remember when we mocked the Cowboys for that package? Well, that tells you that, well, Max Crosby's going to cost more than that. A.J. Brown could cost less than that. Mike Evans to limit suitors as he's looking at a handful of teams amid Bucks' pursuit to re-sign him. I think there's a chance he goes to Pittsburgh with Rodgers. Or maybe it's Buffalo, maybe back to Tampa. The Vikings to cut Javon Hargrave and Aaron Jones. Barring a trade, Minnesota plans to cut those players before March 13th. The Colts may tag Jones or Alec Pierce. The Dolphins may release Tua as they haven't given up on trying to trade him, but he's expected out by third day of the NFL season or NFL off-season. Eagles' price for AJ is too high. Philly's open to trading him, but they have to be blown away. Cowboys free agency plan as they are building detailed tactic to bolster their defense in the offseason. They have to bolster their defense. And we always keep talking about the Vikings looking for veteran quarterback help. The Dolphins and the Cardinals are eyeing Malik Willis. It appears unrealistic that the teams will offer him $30+ million a year. As he shouldn't be making that much. Maybe 20, maybe 15. Kyler likely to be released as they're unexpected to trade him because suitors won't give up anything significant. The Giants are being linked to Kenneth Walker and Jeremiah Love, which I think is stupid because they have a running back and his name is Cam Skattebo. And if they do end up with one of those players, that tells you that either John Harbaugh is not high on Cam Skattebo or Cam Skattebo is more injured than we think he is. So that's not a good sign for Cam Skattebo if the Giants get one of those two players. Deion Sanders announces unfortunate news, the passing of quarterback Dominic Ponder in a social media post. That's really sad. He died in a single car crash, 23 years old. Thoughts and prayers go to the family, friends, and the Colorado Buffaloes program. The WBC's coming up, so we'll be talking about that. And then Bryce Harper sent a text to Aaron Judge as he recalls advice from Harper before the 2025 playoffs ahead of WBC debut. So there you have it for the news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So there's one that jumped out to me. It's in college basketball. A team that is a light favorite at home in the Big Sky. And there's also that low number in the conference tournament game as well, which makes me suspicious that it's that low. It went up to 2.5 actually, Cleveland State. I'm either going to do Portland State or Cleveland State for best bet. I don't know. You know what? I am going to do Cleveland State. Cleveland State minus 2.5 against Iowa Indy. Horizon League Conference Tournament. And then my runner-up for best bet was Portland State minus the 4.5 against Weber State is my runner-up. So, best bet kicks off the March fun with the minus 2.5 at Cleveland State in the Horizon League playing against Iowa Indy. So there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything. We got to everything tomorrow, and then also conference tournament videos or shows as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.